Volvemos a la presentación de Dash. Go ahead, Evan.
So my name is Evan Duffield, and again, creator of Dash, the cryptographic currency financial network. What we're aspiring to do is to create a fully inclusive a project that is so much more than just about privacy. This is about mass adoption. And what I want to tell is the story about how we started out as this little tiny entity, which basically started out of my garage. And we brought on talent from all around the world, figured out how to fund this project in a completely decentralized way, just utilizing these new technologies that we've been pioneering. And we've turned ourselves into a fully capitalized entity capable of employing currently 120 people all around the world and working on our project. And so, here's how we did that. The most important thing that we figured out is that the block reward should be treated like a resource. It is finite, it is extremely valuable, and it runs out eventually. And so, how do you treat this block reward in such a way that you're really careful with how you spend the money and that you utilize it to the best way possible? And so what we decided to do is allocate 10% of the reward to completing these projects to expand our economy. And we went from doing, we had zero revenue at the beginning, and we didn't want to take any sort of centralized funding or anything. And we figured out how to utilize this technology, and we generated $586,000 over the past 12 months. And this has created this snowball effect where we've been reinvesting this money into the ecosystem over and over again and leveraging this technology. Just yesterday, we issued another superblock, which basically means that we queried the network, asked them what was the most important things to spend money on, and they gave us answers, and then the money came directly out of the blockchain, and that was $80,000. So we're spending about $80,000 on the project now directly from the blockchain using this technology. And again, completely decentralized money. And this just came from the allocation. So we think this is really cool, and in the short 3 years that we've been active, we've amassed the volunteer team of 120 people. We have a market cap of about $64 million, and we have 20 full-time employees. And these full-time employees are, not just random people. These are the most talented people that I've worked with in my professional career. Our project manager, for example, has managed 30 different projects. Our business development person, Daniel Diaz, is fantastic at coordinating the development of our ecosystem. We have a development team led by myself. I have about 15 years experience with coding, economics, finance. Our lead engineer on the Dash daemon has 18 years of experience with C++. And so we found a really, really good team, and we're really happy with that. And so how are we doing so well? How did we figure out how to do this? And how does all of this work? Because I would really like to spread these concepts out there so that we can benefit the whole ecosystem, because we've found something that works really well. And this is about our vision. Our vision turned out to be so bleeding edge that we weren't able to use any existing technology that was out in the space. We had to create it all from scratch. And so by doing this, we've learned a lot. And I think the most important thing we learned is that you really need to incentivize everything. So that's become our new motto. incentivize everything. We figured out, no one really works for free. There's open source projects, and they rely on philanthropy. And eventually, philanthropy runs out. We had a really nice group of people at the very beginning, and these were the early adopters of Dash. These were the first ones in. And they helped us to get it off the ground when we didn't have money to spend on labor. But as the saying goes, there's no free lunch, and so we had to figure out another way of doing things. How do you pay for programmers and running servers, designing websites, or even editing press releases? These, in the traditional sense, are just jobs, right? So we in the legacy economy would pay for these things outright, and we expect from the viewpoint of Dash that these are the same types of jobs that should be paid for within our ecosystem. If you're going to get paid for it in the private sector, you should probably get paid for it, by working for Dash. The next type of incentivized infrastructure was the server architecture itself. And the way that I think about this is it's kind of like we have a virtual server room, and we had 4,000 slots. So we knew how many servers we needed, but we can't, actually co-locate 4,000 servers because that would be completely centralized. And so we came up with this other solution of incentivizing people to start servers. And as a result, we have no physical control over these servers. These administrators are anonymous, decentralized. Our data is everywhere and nowhere at the same time because of this. And then we figured out how to prove that these servers are running with specific bandwidth, with specific amounts of storage space. And we call this concept proof of service. So by proving that these servers are running in the correct way, we can leverage them. We can predict exactly what we need over the next few years, so that if we want to grow from 1 million users to 10 million users to even 100 million users at some point, it's going to be kind of like driving a really fancy car. We can shift gears by asking these masternode operators, these virtual server operators, to increase the minimum requirements. And then we can prove that they did it using this proof of service protocol. So this is going to allow us to scale from very, very small, this original garage-based startup, to very, very large. And all just with decentralized technology backing it. So, features. We have a ton of features, and the features are, I think, my favorite part about Dash. I believe that we have some of the most interesting and most innovative features in the space. Instant transactions enable point of sale, and we really don't want to rely on a third party or a centralized party to do the instant transactions, because we feel like this is a mission-critical part of our network. Anything that the users utilize as a course of normal action on our network, we want to provide ourselves. So a lot of this technology has to just be baked into the core protocol. And it's the same with instant transactions. This is going to allow a user to walk into a store, buy a coffee mug, and walk out with a 1-second confirmation. And we call this a lock. It's kind of like an authorization on a credit card. And then it settles on our blockchain in 2.5 minutes. And so, you can't beat that. It's pretty amazing. This is available now to all of our users, by the way. 30% of our transactions on the Dash network are instantly sent, instantly locked, and authorized in 1 second. The next feature is the voting and treasury system. This is our governance system, as it's known within the Dash community. Everyone has a voice on our network. And this is I guess a novel concept in the crypto sphere. Whether you're a user, a client, a business, an investor, we want you to be able to say exactly what you think should happen. If it's a good idea, you can get support from the other people on the network and they'll vote for it. And then you can actually influence the direction of our project in a completely decentralized way that's cryptographically provable and uncorruptible. And this is the core concept behind Dash. We don't do anything without network approval. We essentially are running a decentralized organization, and we've taken all of the authority away from ourselves, all of the control away from ourselves, and we've given it to the network using this means of voting and determining what the network wants. So whether it's electing representatives to the network, or hiring, or firing, or even delegating network authority, all of that's left to the network. And we ask for permission when we do things that require a change in our governance model. So the most important part about this, though, is the funding. It's a governance system and it's a funding system. So it tells us what to fund. People will come up with ideas and they'll say, we should fund X or we should fund Y. And then there's a voting process, and the best ideas are the ones that win. So we've funded things like Lamasu integration, a local Bitcoins implementation, except purely for Dash, wall of coins integration, and integrations in general is a very interesting topic because we're not Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has a certain privilege within the space because it was the first and it was revolutionary and it was amazing. But, coming second, you don't get the same privilege. You will not get added to all of these services just automatically. And so we have to labor. We have to figure out which services we want to implement and integrate with. We have to reach out to them. And then a lot of the time we finance it. So we will pay for the integration. We will get the programmers aboard. As a good example, we recently are working with MySelenium. And we added a programmer to their team. And this is not just a programmer that's purely working on Dash. This person is actually able to work on Bitcoin-related stuff, Dash-related stuff. And the idea behind this is we want to give back as well. These are the relationships that we're building benefit both parties. And so this is kind of the ethos of Dash and what we're trying to build. We're trying to build something that helps the ecosystem and helps us and builds a new way of doing things, just as an example of how it could be done. And this is the foundation of our decentralized organization as well. So Dash Drive is the implementation of allowing data to be stored on these virtual servers. So whether it's 1 million users, 10 million users, 100 million users, we can figure out how to store it using this virtualized network. The point is that we want to implement these things ourselves because we don't want to rely on a third party. We don't want it to rely on anything centralized, and we want control of this implementation, how it works, and we just don't want any reliance. That's kind of the point. We want to control all of the things that are mission critical again. And so storing user data on Dash Drive is something that our network can do itself. And so this is a full-fledged solution to running a company, running a decentralized organization over the blockchain. So with all of this said, what are we building toward? What is What is the point of all of this? We're not building technology just to build random technology. This technology is all going toward one thing, and that's Dash evolution. The point of Dash evolution is to abstract away all of the complexity out of crypto and to turn it into online banking. So we're all familiar with online banking. A lot of us still use online banking. And the idea here is we want to be able to sit your grandmother in front of a computer, take her to the Dash evolution site, not tell her a thing, and let her go through the process. She shouldn't even know it's a cryptographic currency that she's getting involved with. It should be that easy. It's all about simplicity. And it's about friendliness, the transparency, and lack of corruption. Because, again, with the voting system, this governance model, the users and the investors and the businesses and the clients, all as a community, control the direction of the project. And that is Dash evolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Evan. We have time for one question. Do we have one question? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi. How do you give people voting? It depends on how much money you have. How many voting rights do I have?
The voting system is done based off of 1,000 Dash allocations. So you need a 1,000 Dash allocation. You need to run one of these virtual servers. And then once the network knows that you're running the server, you can issue commands to vote on various actions on the network, including all of these like administrative functions, what we fund, and literally everything that we do.
No, sorry. One question per person. One more, and then we're done. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. To be successful, the Dash project has to be somehow the economy has to be stable in the right. So the people on the shops can use it and know how much they are earning. And right now, all the price of the altcoins are very unstable, mainly because, well, the offer and demand is centralized in, for example, Polynex.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you see the future? How can Dash become more stable in that price?
The Dash network is stabilized in different ways than other networks are. We have an economic model that as the network grows, the price actually should become a lot more stable than the other ones. I don't have quite time to get into why that is, but it has to do with these virtualized servers locking up a lot of the coins. The free-floating coins are very limited, and then as money comes into the network, it'll create inflows and outflows and balance it out. We're going to rely on commerce to do that. It's also it's a function of the scale of the economy, and so these smaller ones are just going to be more volatile. As it grows, it will become much more stable.
Okay, and for all of you which might have full of questions, Evan is going to be with us the whole day, so you're going to grab him on the lunch break or on the coffee breaks. Thank you very much, Evan. Un aplauso para Evan, por favor. Thank you.